Tez Walker eligible, NCAA put out in an announcement earlier today, followed by statements from lawyers and statements from coaches and statements from players and statements from fans and statements from local radio hosts and statements from everybody. We'll hear, by the way, from another angle of this. Josh Stein, the North Carolina Attorney General, is going to be joining the show at 4:15. He wrote a letter to the NCAA on behalf of, or arguing for, the eligibility of Tez Walker about 10 days ago, the 26th of September, and now he's eligible 10 days later. Did that have something to do with it? We're going to try to poke around and find out. We're going to talk to Josh Stein, the Attorney General of North Carolina, at 4:15. We have Tommy Ashley from Inside Carolina coming up in about 15 minutes, maybe a little less. But first, let's break it down our style. The details are fascinating when it comes to this Tez Walker decision to be eligible. But first, let's celebrate. Can we all just take a moment and celebrate that a young man that is being given the deserved chance to play football this year? I did not think this was going to happen. I did not think the NCAA was going to suddenly go, you know what, I'm going to do the right thing after not doing the right thing for over a month. I didn't think the NCAA would come down off their high horse. Whatever the reasoning, the first thing you should do is celebrate. An opportunity that should not have been taken away from a player is now being given back to a player. And in college sports, student athletes have to be the priority. They have to be the number one. So, whatever moving parts, whatever he said, she said, whatever files needed to be burned and shredded or whatever. Tez, eligible. I'm happy for him. And he gets to play in this very, very high-profile North Carolina season. They're very, very good. They become better with him in the game. They become better with him in the offense. They became better today. Now let's dive into the details. Now the celebration. Hey, I hope in Chapel Hill they're. I was going to say popping champagne, but in the middle of the season, maybe not. I hope they're high-fiving. whatever the in-season, like post, whatever celebration. That's what it needs to be. The NCAA statement, though, really rubbed me the wrong way. Really did. It is unfortunate that UNC failed to provide this important information previously. While we must be careful not to compromise a student-athlete's right to privacy when it comes to sensitive issues, we want to assure the Division I membership and everyone watching how the new transfer rules are applied that this meets the new transfer waiver standards. UNC's behavior and decision to wage a public relations campaign is inappropriate and outside the bounds of the process UNC's own staff supported. Had the UNC staff not behaved in this fashion and submitted this information weeks ago, this entire unfortunate episode could have been avoided. Yikes. I say yikes for a few reasons. First of all, we'll go back to Bubba Cunningham. Okay? That's the NCAA statement. Bubba Cunningham, the athletic director of UNC, responded to that statement with this. We are happy that Tez Walker is now eligible to play and enjoying what he loves to do. However, the justification provided by the NCAA today is not accurate. The university submitted all necessary information and documentation as it was made available to us at the time, and we still believe Tez met all standards for the waiver in early August. It is not clear why the NCAA delayed making the correct decision then, but we are pleased to get the appropriate resolution now. When I say we, is the NCAA really blaming North Carolina for this? This is a complete, the fact that a player who was in a situation that has now been agreed upon by everybody, including the NCAA, as one that should have made him eligible immediately. Now that we're aware that we were right, that UNC was arguing on the right side, even the NCAA has said, yep, should have been eligible. It was an unfortunate situation that could have been avoided. Are we really blaming? If there was a bit of information, a piece of information that could have made him eligible for the waiver, that could have made him eligible to play, did the NCAA ask for it? If there was a piece of information that could have made him eligible and it wasn't presented, it wasn't passed along, then the organizations somewhere along the path of red tape failed the player. Everyone in college sports should be interested in one thing: what is best for the player? That's it. And that means turning over every stone, and that wasn't done until now. There was some piece, some golden ticket buried deep in files that the NCAA hadn't seen, and it took them this long to find it. It's beginning to feel like, and those two statements make it obvious, it's beginning to feel like, I don't even want to say beginning, it feels like UNC versus NCAA, NCAA versus UNC. Put them on a marquee in Vegas and do a UFC fight. UNC versus NCAA. Out for blood, right? Make it a Rambo sequel. When it should be UNC, NCAA on the same team, working in favor of their student athletes, in support of student athletes like Tez Walker. A player who should have been eligible from the very jump sat out 4 games in a bye week because he was deemed ineligible for no reason other than the paperwork wasn't handled correctly. Some bit of information that was necessity, that was an absolute necessity towards making him eligible, was not passed from one side to the other, was not asked for from the other back to the one side. There was no bit of putting the player first. There was only, we're covering our tails. There was only, we haven't been given the paper. There was only, I don't know. There was only, why aren't they? Instead of, can we come together and see if there's a better way to deal with this? Put your pride aside for a couple minutes here. Again, celebrate the fact that Tez Walker gets to play, and he is expected to play as soon as this weekend against Syracuse. Celebrate that. It needs to be celebrated. But also, let's do everything we possibly can to make sure that nobody else misses out on a month of their season for no reason. Everybody's saying, like, I wish this would have happened a month ago. The NCAA, if they would have gave us the information, I wish he would have been eligible from the jump, could have avoided this whole situation. UNC saying, I have no idea why they didn't rule this way a month ago. We could have had this from the jump and avoided this whole situation. I'm going, you two need to work together to make sure that next time you have this from the jump and we can avoid this whole situation. Get on the same team. Remember why you got into this business. I mean, let's be real. I'm sure you didn't become an administrator in college sports because you're like, I'm really looking for ways to take the dreams of children away, or of young men away, of young football players. I really want to be the one that rules them ineligible. You probably got in saying, I want to be around kids that love the sport, and I want to be around players that want to play. Tez Walker is one of them. Do what you can to get it right. And for the next Tez Walker, do what you can to get it right.